moving at speed of sound. Like try quickest hedgehog around. Got ourselves a situation, stuck in a new location without any explanation. No time for relaxation. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster, 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 Sonic X.
So, like, all that being said, I don't want to come across as being too negative towards this game, because obviously, well, like, for two reasons. For one thing, I don't actually think it's bad. It just kind of doesn't gel with me. You know, it ain't my flavor. If I had, if it was on the menu, I would rather pick something else, but if I had no choice, I wouldn't spit it up into the napkin. Know what I'm saying? It's definitely not a bad game, and I have niggling complaints, Jesus Christ, about it that keep it from being on my list of what I would say are the really good ones of the 3D games. But I got nothing against it, of course. But also because the entire point of these fucking videos, god damn it, come on, there we go. Because of course the entire point of these videos is to say fuck the haters, you're wrong, all of the Sonic games are good, so go fuck yourself, right? But that's the weird thing, is I never hear the aforementioned Sonic haters talking about this game. Whenever you hear some monkey brain chuckle fuck, like going, oh, Sonic, all the 3D Sonic games are bad, Sonic has pretty good senses, and they like have a list of all the bad Sonic games, they never actually mention this game.
There's more?
Which is interesting to me, considering this is like the one 3D Sonic game I would say isn't supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's like the only one that I think is a bit weak. It's a little meh, right? Like it's a 4, yeah, but not 4. It's a fucking 5 out of 10, right? 4. It's a 5 out of 10, right? It's completely average.
Whoa!
But no one ever brings, like, this is the only one that I would say is of that quality, and yet it's the only one that I kind of never see anyone bring up. From this era, like, obviously there are other ones that have been made more recently.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the one, it's sort of weird to me, because this is the Sonic game that was made after SEGA as a company became a third-party developer instead of a hardware manufacturer. Aside from the Adventure 2 and DX ports, of course. But the fact that this never kind of gets brought up is really kind of bizarre to me, which, I mean, it makes sense, of course, because this game isn't bad. So, of course, they wouldn't bring it up. As I mentioned, repeatedly in the Adventure and Adventure 2 playthroughs, the pattern seems to be, if the narrative is all Sonic games are bad, Sonic hasn't been good since the Genesis, so they just ignore all the good Sonic games so that they can preserve that narrative. They can't ignore Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, of course, because those were the first ones. So instead they had to try and manufacture this bizarre double standard to say, oh, actually it's bad, even though it's not. But then games that are just obviously there's nothing wrong with them, they ignore them completely and act like they don't exist. You get that much more with the modern games. With, like, Sonic Colors is the biggest example of that you could possibly name.
Do something about that robot shield, will you?
Because that, above and beyond all the others, is the game that they never fucking talk about. Like, it might as well not exist whenever these people talk about Sonic.
All right.
I'll talk about that, obviously, when we get to that game. But this is also one that you could have it as an example of that, because it's a not bad 3D Sonic game, so therefore, obviously, of course, they pretend it doesn't exist. Because if they acknowledge this game exists, they would have to go, oh, it's a not bad 3D Sonic game. Oh no, our psycho narrative that all 3D Sonic games are bad and Sonic has just Genesis no longer is applicable. So just ignore it. Just pretend it doesn't exist. The only Sonic games that exist in their mind are the bad ones, so that they can preserve this insane, like, yeah, road grinding. Man, switching back and forth between the rails in these earlier games is always like it's always this fucking, like, risk. Sorry, I had to concentrate there. In this game, like, grinding on the rail is a little rough, and you gotta, like, pay attention to what you're doing. They only acknowledge the ones that are bad, and if it's a good one, then they ignore it, like Sonic Colors, or if it's like, or like Sonic Unleashed, which they ignore the parts of that game that are good. They ignore everything about the games that get in the way of their like, oh no, my hate boner is flaccid now. Now I can't jerk off my hate boner. Just ignore it. Just get rid of it. Pretend it doesn't exist. So that's what they do with Sonic Heroes. It's not bad, therefore no one talk about it, because then we have to admit that there are Sonic games that aren't bad. And again, that's just weird to me, because this is the one I would say, if you wanted to argue you didn't think it's very good, I wouldn't disagree. So it's just funny how it ends up that way. But it's a game that's in the middle for me, because there are, if you sat there and said Sonic Heroes is my favorite Sonic game, I also would totally see where you're coming from with that, and wouldn't be able to, like, refute.
Wow, my head's spinning!
What a wild ride.
Refute that opinion. Like, yeah, if this is your favorite game, I can totally see why. I get it. That's why I said, to me, this is the Sonic CD of the 3D offerings of the series. Because it's the one that people say, this is the best one.
Flying enemies are all yours.
This is the best one in the series, it's my favorite. And personally, it's not for me. Personally, it don't jive that way for me. But I get it. It's definitely doing something unique that you can't really get from any of the other entries in the series. And if that unique thing that it's doing really... Come on. Really gels with you, and you play it and you're like, yeah, this makes sense to me, you know? Like, I get it. Like, it touches the no-no spot in your soul, but in a way that you don't want to tell mommy about it the day after. I understand that, and there are definitely people who say for whom Sonic Heroes is their favorite Sonic game. For example, there's a Sonic fan game called Sonic World, which, hey, look, a fan game that didn't get cease and desisted by SEGA. Actually, that one's a fun example, because, like, when it finally went gold, so to speak, when they were finally like, okay, version 1.0, like, it was quote-unquote finished, they're still working on it, but, like, it's in a release-worthy state in their eyes. People were making jokes like, oh, better download it now before SEGA fucking cease and desist them. And then the official Sonic Twitter account was like, yeah, better hurry, LOL. Nah, not really, we're not gonna do that. Like, oh no! Ah, shit. You'd think the flying would be my favorite system of the teams here, but honestly, no, man. The like distance you can get flying is just too short for me, and when you run out, you just do a dead drop down, and there's really kind of no hope for you there. And even if you get a power-up like that, those wing power-ups are supposed to rejuvenate your flight gauge, so you can fly longer distances. If you're already running out and dropping, then it's too late. You're fucked, even if you get that upgrade that's supposed to rejuvenate your flight capabilities meter thing.
There's gotta be a switch for this.
I do think it's kind of funny that, like, you could... let me finish my topic first. I need to get better about that. The official Sonic Twitter account was like, nah, dude, it's cool. We support fan games. Oh, hey, imagine that. A fucking game company actually having a positive, supportive relationship with its fan base and encouraging them to create fan games based on their intellectual property. How about that? Wow. How nifty that would be if other companies did that. And it's another good... Well, anyway, but Sonic World is a fan game that's very Sonic Heroes in its design, where you play as a team of 3, and it utilizes all these same mechanics. So clearly the guys who made that game were like, man, we love Sonic Heroes, that's our favorite one. I wish they would make another Sonic game like Sonic Heroes. They're not going to, let's just make one ourselves. And they did. And it's, again, if that's your flavor, then there you go. That's like, there's the answer, right? There we go.
Let's go!
And I played it, and again, and like, This isn't a video about Sonic World, but personally, like, what I've realized is I do need that context. Just having a fan game where it's like, oh, just go through these levels. Yes! Just because they're levels to go through. Personally, I'm like, I need more than that. I need a little bit more to keep me motivated to play instead of just a list of levels and just go through them for no reason. And again, personally, the Heroes system just ain't my bag. Whoa. Yes! And, like, again, obviously the guys who made that game, they wouldn't have made it if they didn't obviously love Sonic Heroes and love the way it plays and wanted to see another Sonic game of that style. So I'm like, yeah, I see that. I play this and I'm like, I understand how that could be your takeaway. Personally, for me, nah, but I totally get that. So again, like, there we go. There's your fucking, oh, all these bad Sonic games. What about Sonic Heroes? I never heard of that. That one doesn't exist. Shut up. That Sonic game doesn't exist because it's not terrible, so therefore we're going to not acknowledge it. But that, that tweet where SEGA was all, yeah, fuck it, make your fan game, that's cool.
Got it.
It rubbed me the wrong way, not that they made that tweet, but what the reaction to that game kind of was. And like, if you aren't aware of what I'm referring to, it's kind of hard to explain, but like, that game came out, like, it was out, but like, you know, that event happened where Sonic World was like, okay, we're finished, go ahead and play it now. And people started cracking the joke of, oh look, these fan developers who are making a fan game made a better Sonic game than SEGA did, LOL. And it's like, what fucking assholes, right? Like, Jesus Christ, we just had this cool instance where SEGA was like, yeah, it's all good, bro, make your fan game, we support you on this. And asshole's response is to shit on SEGA and say, haha, these guys made a better game than you did. You guys can't make a good Sonic game, but these guys made a good Sonic game, LOL. Yeah, that's what you say to someone after they do something cool like not cease and desisting a fan game like other companies have been known to do.
Level up! Leave it to me!
That's totally a
Let's go!
totally mature and reasonable response, and also not fucking retarded, and isn't going to like put said fan game at risk. Like, why do companies shut down fan games? Because it infringes on their intellectual property and competes in their marketplace.
Yes!
Legally, the idea is this is going to cost us money because people who would buy our game are instead now just going to download and play this. So, and it isn't your intellectual property, so cut that shit out. That is the legal reason that fan games get cease and desist. Is A, game companies need to protect their intellectual properties, otherwise they will lose the rights to them in certain instances. Copyright law is fucking evil, in case you weren't aware. But also, the reason they do that is because it's competing in their marketplace. That's the entire idea behind fair use as a justification for copyright infringement, is this: I'm free to use this because it doesn't infringe on your copyright, it's transformative, it's not affecting your market. Like, you aren't losing sales because this exists. And here you are going, LOL, the games you make are sucky, and this game that these fans made is good. I'm just gonna download this and play that instead of buying your new game. Way to give them justification to go ahead and change their mind and cease and desist those developers, fucking idiots. And B, that's just like, what a... Here Sega just did something that was like, yo, that's a cool thing that you guys did that, and your reaction is, LOL, Sega sucks, ha ha ha.
Energy storage tank!
It's rising!
Like, even aside from the fact that that's just stupid and putting the developer...
Care of it.
Ooh, and putting the... Woo! Woo, no, no! Yep.
Let's go!
And putting the developers of that fan game at risk. But it's just flat out douchebaggy and mean-spirited. Why would you do... When a company says, we're gonna be cool guys and support this fan project, the reaction should be, yeah, cool, good job, that's a nice thing you guys did, and I support you as a company because it's so great to have a game company that's actually supportive of fan projects and isn't fucking draconian in their treatment of the internet fan community that exists. No, instead you're going to say, LOL, fuck you guys, you don't know how to make a game, ha ha ha. Just goddamn people. As if the fact that they shit on the Sonic game series itself
Shoot! Not my day.
wasn't enough of a reason for me to hate these people, but they're just like shitty. They're just shitty people in general. God damn it. Anyway.
Gotcha, my darling Sonic.
Amy, what are you doing here?
Sonic, this time there's no way out of marrying me.
So like I said, I feel like this game is like an example of the less best way to depict Amy, although like it to a degree it does make sense.
This time you're mine. I'll do my best.
Again, like you could justify it and like understand
Are you playing with that girl's heart again?
why her like I wouldn't say her justification, but like the motivation behind her behavior. It is like something that you could understand.
Here we go. Back Rocky and Sakura. You won't get away with it.
But it's still like, you know, the pushy, like, I'm gonna force you to marry me. I'm gonna hog tie you and drag you to the altar, and you're gonna marry me now, Sonic. Like, being very aggressive and, like, trying to force him into a relationship with her. That's a somewhat annoying method of writing her character, I tend to find at least.
Level up!
These team battles are pretty interesting, though, because they're supposed to evoke back to the fights between, like, Rouge and Knuckles, or Eggman and Tails, or Sonic and Shadow in Adventure 2. And that is one of the things that, like, this game is a very back-to-basics approach, but it still carries over things that Adventure 2 established. Jesus Christ. Just beating the shit out of Big. Oh man, I feel bad. That Adventure 2 did, like having different teams to play as. Instead of it being 2, it's 4 to pick from this time, and having those, like, team encounters.
I feel dumb.
Where you're fighting this other,
I feel dumb.
like, this antagonistic group that's, like, a mirror of your own character, right? But it also, Jesus fuck, what is happening? But it also speaks of how this game is kind of... I'll be generous and say it's a very economical game. It's very economical with its asset use. Let's just say that. And you'll see what I'm talking about more after the next couple levels, I think. But I could talk about it now, I could bring it up when we start playing as Team Rose, but like, I feel like it is explainable because like Amy's very confident right now at this stage of her development.
Sorry, but we're in a bit of a rush.
But it's still like, oh, I'm gonna tie you down and force you to marry me, and it's like, oh, come on, girl, don't be like that. Like, Sonic is literally beating the shit out of her, fighting her off to get her to leave him the fuck alone, right? Obviously, there are some isms here.
Amy sure doesn't give up that easy.
What is this place?
In regards to their relationship and how it's handled.
Got some time? Feeling lucky?
Sonic, we only have 24 hours left.
Okay, let's go.
You had 3 days in that intro cutscene. In 3 days, Sonic Heroes, I'm gonna do the thing. It took you guys 2 days to go through Seaside Hill. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Seaside Hill and Grand Metropolis. And then they're gonna do all the rest of these levels in 24 hours. I do love that, though, how Sonic's like, yeah, let's goof off and dick around in Casino Park. So first I'm gonna show the... I wish there was a... I could have sworn there was a cutscene viewer to watch the in-game cutscenes, but apparently not. I'm remembering incorrectly. What game am I thinking of that you could... There was an option to watch the in-game... I can't remember. So, we're gonna pop in to Casino Park to see the in-game cutscenes with the other characters first, just to keep up with everyone's stories. They do have banter during the level itself, but those aren't really, like, narratively important, necessarily.
I can't believe he did that just so he could get away. Mr. Sonic must be really... Really? Why? Nothing. Now I know what to do. Find Eggman and I'll find my Sonic. You all ready?
I feel like the voice acting kind of fell on its face there, where she was like, Mr. Sonic must be really... And again, there was no actual end to that sentence. And then Amy's line should have been, really what? Like, in accusing, like, are you gonna shit-talk my man? You gonna talk shit about my man? My boy? That's my boy, you don't talk shit about that. But instead, the delivery was, really? What? Like an actual inquisitive question. Feel like... I don't know if that's on the director or the actor there, but clearly that was a foible.
Yeah, let's go!
So again, in this mission, we have to collect 200 rings, which is really easy because it's Casino Night Zone.
Let me go! I want to play!
Fancy place. Where there's light, there's shadow. Careful.
Such a buzzkill, SBO. I love how all of the characters get to this stage and they're like, fuck it, let's goof off and play in Casino Night Zone here. I mean, because that's what the player's thinking, right?
Affirmative.
And whereas Team Sonic and Team Rose fight each other on that level, again, everyone kind of fights the same boss in every level. Instead, Team Chaotix and Team Dark fight each other. For no reason?
Bad guys? You guys don't fool me. I know what you're after.
They literally have no reason to fight whatsoever.
I wonder. Never mind, those guys were definitely up to no good.
Enemies detected 200 meters ahead. Initiating battle mode.
Hey guys, wait for me!
Cool city.
Our top priority is Eggman. Don't forget that. No time to waste.
You're too serious, Omega.
Again, I want to point out, I think Team Dark's chemistry is really strong. I totally, buy this group dynamic between them.
There's someone there!
Oh, Jesus, fuck! And again, I still love how Shadow's personality is still kind of shining through. I mean, he's lost, quote-unquote, lost his memories or whatever, or has amnesia or what have you.
Ultimate power.
This is the ultimate power. Naturally. But he's still, he's still observably the Shadow we know and love from Adventure 2, where he thinks he's so cool, but he's, totally just a fucking dork. Oh, cool city. Let's fuck around and play on the fucking pinball machines for a while, you guys. Give me Sonic Spin Dash. Is it Sonic Spin Dash or Sonic Spinball? That pinball game on the Genesis. Give me God damn it. Give me Sonic Spinball 2 starring Shadow. Come on. That'd be cool and you know it. Ah, fuck. Although, again, it's using,
Level up.
like I mentioned this a little bit in, Sonic Adventure 1 during the casino level, but the physics that it uses aren't really pinball physics. It feels so weird. It fucking, fucks with me because I expect it to play like pinball plays, and it really doesn't. Oh god, look at, I got stuck there. I'm not touching the control stick is the problem. So they end up just flip-flopping all around any way that they want to go. But what you're supposed to do is you're still in control of your character while they're being the pinball. So you're supposed to, try and... God damn it, are you fucking kidding me? That's fair, right? What you're supposed to do is kind of try and steer them while they're bouncing around the pinball board, but it doesn't occur to me to do that because that's not a thing in pinball. So the physics end up being a little wonky. Oh shit! Fuck! God damn it! Steer. And what's funny is all three of the team members are bouncing around on the pinball machine together, but independently of each other. So there we go. So if we switch characters, now we're all the way over here because they're on completely different parts of the board. Oh shit. So that can be super disorienting to where you're like, ah shit. And now I'm playing as this totally on the other side of the board here with this character. And it can really throw you off if you do it without keeping track adequately. Fuck. Come on. Ah. Again, I super love pinball, and I super love the idea of Sonic on a pinball thing. Fuck me. But the physics, if it was an actual pinball, that would be better, but it's not, so it's a little, you know? What the fuck? What is happening? Oh, here we go. And, like I mentioned,
I'll take it from here.
in the first video, I think, I talked about how these levels can get up there to unacceptably long level lengths. Obviously, I feel like this level is kind of allowed to be really long because it's the casino night level. Like, it's gonna be longer because you're fucking around playing pinball. Like, it can be as long as you want it to be. If you want to just dick around, then yeah, it's gonna be on the longer side. But the last level, if you had been paying attention before we got to the, like, team boss fight there, against Team Rose, that level went on for 10 minutes. God damn it.
Control.
For some reason, Shadow was stuck back on that pinball machine from way... Oh my god! From way earlier before. This game's got some jank to it. There's no other way to, like, excuse that, kinda. Like, there's an explanation, but it's still like, oh, this isn't super perfect in how it controls. Oh, shit. And that's an example of, like, one of the niggling little, like, this wasn't super polished because they didn't know how to make games on this new on these third-party consoles yet. If you have been paying attention, you would have seen that level took 10 fucking minutes to finish. And I wasn't doing anything in that level that was... I wasn't, like, doing anything that was, like, out of sorts. I wasn't fucking around. I was going through that level at a pretty reasonable pace, I think. Right? And it still took 10 minutes. It took 10 fucking... Okay, Jesus. I was like, did I fuck it up trying to do that with Omega? Like, am I dead now? That'll happen sometimes. Oh, fuck me. You know what I've always hated about the Sonic games is when you get hit, you drop all your rings. You drop all of your rings, but you can only recollect like 20 of them. You could have been carrying 200 rings, but the max amount that you can reacquire as they're like bouncing, jig-jabbing all over the place is 20. I've always hated that. So if you were carrying 200 rings and you get hit, you're just up shit creek without a paddle. And like, I guess there's like really never much of a reason to need all that many rings. Like, really, you only ever need one ring in order to not, like, have one hit and you're dead. God damn it. You don't need rings, like, it doesn't matter. Especially in the 3D games where you can't be Supersonic. Supersonic has been relegated to the end boss encounter, story mandated. So it's not like you can collect 50 rings and punch into Supersonic during the level, so you want to hang on to at least 50 rings. No, there's no reason to have so many rings.